Graduates, please take your seats. Good evening, graduates. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the graduation ceremony for graduates of the Faculties of Education, Commerce and Administration, Health and Behavioural Sciences, and the Faculty of Law. In a few minutes, the graduation ceremony will commence. The procession of staff will enter first. After a brief pause, the University fanfares will announce the entry of the day's party. I will signal to you by this action that you are to rise and remain standing until both the staff procession and the day's party are seated. Please do not stand until I ask you to. May I also remind you that flash photography is prohibited in this auditorium. For the mutual comfort and enjoyment of all members of the audience, the University requests your cooperation in observing this rule. Thank you.
Sir Anthony Mason, Chief Justice of the High Court, and Lady Mason, my colleagues from the Supreme Court of Queensland, Mr Justice Fitzgerald, Mr Justice Davies, Mr Justice Shepherdson, Mr Justice Lee, Mr Justice Mackenzie, and Justice Freiberg, and my recently departed colleague from the court, Dr Kevin Ryan, fellow members of the Council of Griffith University, Foundation Chancellor Sir Theodore Bray, Vice-Chancellor Professor Roy Webb, staff and students of the university, ladies and gentlemen. It's the custom for Griffith University and its guests to gather to celebrate the conferral of academic awards on its graduates. While these occasions hold special significance for our graduates, their families and friends, they're important also for the entire university community. As Chancellor of Griffith University, it is my pleasure to extend a very warm welcome to everyone present, and at the same time to offer congratulations to each of our graduates. They are awarded now for their labours, which no doubt to them seemed endless at times. They will be proud of their achievements, and the university too is proud of them. It's also the custom for Griffith University to bestow its degree of Doctor of the University upon recipients whom it selects for what it regards as a high distinction. Tonight we honour Sir Anthony Mason, undoubtedly distinguished, as Chief Justice of the High Court of Australia. I do not want at this point to repeat, as it were in advance, any of what might be said later at greater length, but I want to add a brief personal observation. Sir Anthony, who will shortly retire, has enjoyed a fruitful reign as Chief Justice since 1987. Throughout those years, he's been an influential figure in the work of the court. This period has been one in which more people have become aware of the critical significance of the High Court as a prop of our Constitution and the overseer of the functioning of the legal structure that supports the Australian community and its individual destiny. It must be deeply satisfying to have been in a position to make such a significant contribution to the life of the court and to see the court maintain its eminent role. Lawyers and many others will note his achievements and be conscious of his impending departure. When that time comes, I and many others will wish him and Lady Mason well. More will be said about Sir Anthony in a formal way later in the proceedings. We're delighted that he's able to share with us this important occasion in the life of the university, and we look forward to hearing his address. Griffith University has always been a progressive and innovative institution. The recent National Quality Assurance Review ranked Griffith in the first band, confirming it as one of the nation's top universities. That placing, we feel, simply reflects the success which has attended our pursuit of quality and demonstrates the level of our commitment to traditional values as well as to the demands of a changing world. Our graduates tonight have studied in fields which reflect the breadth and diversity of modern university education. Graduates from the Faculty of Health and Behavioural Sciences will receive awards, along with graduates from the Faculty of Commerce and Administration and the Faculty of Education. All are honoured this evening. This year, the Faculty of Health and Behavioural Sciences has added to its substantial array of postgraduate offerings with 2 new courses, the Master of Nursing and the Master of Mental Health Nursing, they adding to the new offerings which were made in 1994. This year also we're seeing our first graduates from the faculty's honours program in nursing and from the Graduate Diploma of Midwifery. The last named is the first university-based midwifery program to be offered in Queensland. The faculty continues with reviews of undergraduate courses, and next year course modifications are likely to result from the reviews. The Faculty of Commerce and Administration has also witnessed considerable changes. New undergraduate courses have been launched styled Bachelor of Retailing and Bachelor of Commerce, Banking, Finance and Risk Management. Both courses were developed and designed in close collaboration with industry. A number of the faculty's courses have been subjected to revision and modifications by internal and external review panels. This procedure ensures that the courses remain up to date and relevant to industry needs. The Faculty of Education has developed new courses. The Bachelor of Social Science in Child and Family Studies and the Graduate Diploma in Child and Family Studies are responses to the growing need for qualified professionals in childcare. The Master of Higher Education and the Master of Special Education programs are viewed as important in the encouragement of teachers' knowledge of education theory and practice. A Master of Special Education program is available through the distance education mode, making it widely accessible. Other programs have been revised to reflect changing needs and the nature of employment opportunities available for today's education graduates. This is the university's response to the need for continuing scrutiny to ensure relevance in course content. I return now to the students who, having completed their studies, receive recognition of their awards tonight. They join an impressive array of Griffith graduates who have preceded them and gone on to achieve success and acclaim in their fields. Our new graduates will, I am sure, make an equal contribution. As we continue with this evening's proceedings, I express warm congratulations to each of them and extend to them my best wishes for their lives ahead. I now call on the deans of the respective faculties to present the graduates who are to receive their awards at this ceremony.
Chancellor, the Dean of the Faculty of Education.
Chancellor, I present to you graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Arts in Justice Administration. Lana Agnew. Corey Allen. Anthony Baxter. Adam Carley. David Cheng. Lisa Cooper. Peter Crawford. Jennifer Cullen. Leonie Duncan. Kim Dwyer. Craig Edwards. Ian Ferguson. Carmelo Galea, Errol Gibson, Mary Iwanka, Christopher Lone, Kelly Madron, Helena Marinkovic, Brian MacDonald, Mark Benanning, George Pugh, Rima Ramsarup, Teresa Roberts, Marie Sambanis, Jaswat Sandhu, John Skoll, Danielle Shepherd, Kenneth Stanley, Alana Sullivan, Kim Tran, Elizabeth Waddington, Damien Ward, Charlene White, and Brian Wilkins. Chancellor, I present to you graduates who have been granted the Graduate Certificate in Applied Linguistics. Carol Bevan, Roland Camilleri, Nola Carr, Judith Hall, Kathleen Harrison, Janice McBurney, Judith Rose, and Deborah Terranova. Chancellor, I present to you graduates who have been granted the Graduate Diploma of Education. Timothy Bell. Julie Dott. Sharon Hall. Peter Harriman. Deanna Mann. David Mason. Andrew Nielsen. Robert Patterson. Xiaoling Peg. Benjamin Quick. And Russell Thompson. Chancellor, I present to you graduates who have been granted the Graduate Diploma of Special Education. Roberta Clifton. Craig Gallagher. Jan Golding. Raylene Horner. Susan Jordan. Nicole King. Diane McRoberts. Glennis Phillips. John Redshaw. Joanne Ruddle. Michelle Shaw. Richard Shaw. Joy Stewart. And Patricia Thompson. Chancellor, I present to you graduates who have been granted the Master of Arts in Applied Linguistics. Susan Anderson. Michelle Endicott. Margaret Hardy. Nora Henry. Marion Hereth. Margaret Kettle. Louise Lee. Susan Liu. Teresa McShane. Himiko Negashi. Gail Ramirez. Dawn Riley. Dorothy Vickland. Sue Weiler Choi. And Anna Wilkie. Chancellor, I present to you graduates who have been granted the Master of Education. Lucinda Clark. Stephen Fisher. Alexandra Grove. Francis Hawker. Jodie Hope. Robin Lang. Raymond McConnell. Julianne Schiller. Carol Tilling. Jean-Jacques Verscholdi. Chancellor, I present to you two graduates who have been granted the Master of Education Reading. Karen Stewart. And Diane Taylor. Chancellor, I present to you a graduate who has been granted the Master of Education with Honours, Bruce Howden. Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates from the Faculty of Education.
Chancellor, the Dean of the Faculty of Commerce and Administration.
Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Graduate Diploma of Business Computing and Information Systems. Katrina Bills. Vincent Kelly. Kin Lamb. Vijaya Madhukuri. Piyush Ramani. Gail Sharp. Rick Suwanakut. Piju Yan. Sheng Kai Yang. Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Graduate Diploma of Economics, Sharon Gibson. Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Graduate Diploma of Human Resource Management and Industrial Relations, Philip Browning. Michael Drzazka. Jorn Hoppy. Fiona Krause. Gloria Mellon. Gary Nylon. Tabitha Pearson. Jane Stanbrook. Matt Tricarico. Anthony Wiggins. Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Master of Administration, Deirdre Baker. Paul Futrell. Ian Hawke. Brett Hayward. Wayne Miller. Peter Panousis. Terence Seymour. Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Master of Applied Economics. Tien Pham Duc. Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Master of Information Systems, Terry Doyle. Chancellor, I present to you graduates who have been granted the Master of Professional Accounting, Benjamin Aitken. Brian Avery. Julie Barnard. Michael Caddy. Melinda Schubert. Rod Smith. Mika Suominen. Kui Tran. Janet Zhu. Chancellor, I present to you graduates who have been granted the Master of Public Sector Management, Annette Henderson. Carolyn Honeywell. Peter Kinney. Mick Lord. Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates of the Faculty of Commerce and Administration.
Chancellor, the Dean of the Faculty of Health and Behavioural Sciences.
Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Behavioural Science with First Class Honours in Psychology. Jane Fowler. Amanda Gadmundsen. Lee Kirshner. Kerry Mabley. Tammy Muckett. Jeff Patrick. Susie Sweeper. Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Behavioural Science with second-class honours, Division A in Psychology. Naomi Butel. Mark Drew. Angie Hodson. Melanie Holmes. Catherine Jones. Carmel McKenna. Jeffrey Topping. Jeffrey Wallace. Kerry Udale. Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Behavioural Science with first-class honours in Work and Health, Anthony Smith. Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Nursing with first-class honours, Elizabeth Hoy. Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Nursing with second-class honours, Division A, Angela Shaw-Massey. Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Graduate Diploma of Psychology, Caitlin Barras. Susan Bull. Nicole Bunning. Teresa Butler. Jeff Cox. Ewan Creelan. Kathy Dillon. Angela Dixon. James Douglas. Jodie Drew. Cameron Fee. Kim Horval. Michael Jackson. Mary Kennedy. Brenda Lack. Heather Lindsley. Michelle Mason. Vicky Middleton. Roberta Perring. Megan Senior. Moon Tay. Deidre Thompson. Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Graduate Diploma of Rehabilitation. Dominique Bird. Susan Fleming. Thea Isles. Clifford Leong. Kay McGrory. Olga Olsen. Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates of the Faculty of Health and Behavioural Sciences. Chancellor, the Vice-Chairperson, Academic Committee, Professor David Pegg, will now present a candidate for the award of the University Medal. This will be followed by the presentation of graduates who have been granted the degrees of Master of Philosophy and Doctor of Philosophy.
Chancellor, the University Medal may be awarded to a graduate who has completed the requirements for both a bachelor's degree of the university and a degree with honours in recognition of academic excellence. Chancellor, I am pleased to present a graduate of the Faculty of Health and Behavioural Sciences who has been granted the 1994 University Medal, Jane Louise Fowler. Chancellor, before proceeding with the presentation of the Research Higher Degree graduates, I shall, with your approval, read a citation introducing each of those graduates. Chancellor, the Master of Philosophy degree is a program of supervised research training culminating in a thesis which must demonstrate the candidate's knowledge of a particular discipline and research topic, a capacity for clear, methodical thinking and the ability to present the results of research in a succinct and cogent form. Tonight, the University is proud to honour a graduate who has satisfied these criteria for the award of a degree. Chancellor, Debbie Maria Smythe has been granted the degree of Master of Philosophy taken in the Faculty of Health and Behavioural Sciences. Healing occurs through diverse pathways. Ms. Smythe's thesis explores one such pathway, therapeutic touch, from a phenomenological perspective. Therapeutic touch is a gentle, non-invasive nursing treatment that alters human suffering in positive, amazing ways. Experiences of patients are recorded and analysed in search of common themes. Remarkably, the healing phenomenon shares its explanation with quantum physics. From that point, hypotheses are proposed which shed further light upon the healing process in health and nursing. Chancellor, Ms. Smythe's research has been accepted as satisfying the requirements for award of the degree. Chancellor, the degree of Doctor of Philosophy is awarded to a graduate who has successfully completed a prescribed program of study, principally of research. A thesis embodying the outcomes of the research is the principal basis of examination. The degree is only awarded if the examiners are satisfied that the thesis makes a significant and original contribution to knowledge and understanding of the field of knowledge with which it is concerned. Tonight, the University is proud to honour its Doctor of Philosophy graduates who have satisfied these rigorous criteria for the award of the degree. Chancellor Alan Jeremy Taylor has been granted the degree of Doctor of Philosophy taken in the Faculty of Commerce and Administration. Dr. Taylor's dissertation seeks a better explanation as to why governmental departments find cooperation difficult, engage in long-running interdepartmental disputes, and why the executive arm of government frequently finds resolution of these conflicts difficult. The dissertation examines the organisation of services to young children with disability in Queensland, New South Wales and Victoria. Dr. Taylor found that the government departments implement interdepartmental programs without developing a shared understanding of the program to be delivered, and then compete to assert departmental definitions of the program. Chancellor, Dr. Taylor's research has been accepted as satisfying the requirements for award of the degree. Chancellor, Helen Maria Stacey has been granted the degree of Doctor of Philosophy taken in the Faculty of Law. Dr. Stacey considers the comparative jurisprudence of environmental legislation in Australia, the two Germanys and the United Germany. Dr. Stacey examines these approaches to legislation from liberal, utilitarian, Marxist and green theories, then interrogates these approaches using a postmodern or post-structural critique that has come to law through the social sciences and literary theory. In doing so, Dr. Stacey provides a rare and sustained application of jurisprudence to environmental law. Chancellor, Dr. Stacey's research has been accepted as satisfying the requirements for award of the degree. Chancellor, that concludes the introduction of the candidates. I now ask that they be presented with their awards. Chancellor, I present Debbie Maria Smythe, who has been granted the degree of Master of Philosophy. Chancellor, I present Alan Jeremy Taylor, who has been granted the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Chancellor, I present Helen Maria Stacey, who has been granted the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of Master of Philosophy and Doctor of Philosophy graduates.
Ladies and gentlemen, there will now be a brief musical interlude performed by the Griffith University Collegiate Singers.
Kommst dir manchmal in den Sinn ein süßes Lied, to see your smiling valley and hear your rolling river. I long to see your smiling valley. We're bound away across the wide Missouri.
'Tis 7 long years since last I see you, and here your rolling river. 'Tis 7 long years since last I see you.
With the authority of the Council, I shall now confer the degree of Doctor of the University. I call upon the Vice-Chancellor to make this presentation.
Chancellor, the Council of the University has resolved to award the degree of Doctor of the University to Sir Anthony Mason, ACKBE. Anthony Frank Mason was born in Sydney in April 1925 and educated at Sydney Grammar School. Upon completion of his school years, he joined the Royal Australian Air Force and was sent to Canada for pilot training as the Second World War was coming to an end. Upon his return to Australia, he won a scholarship under the Commonwealth Rehabilitation Training Scheme for ex-servicemen, studying arts and law at Sydney University. After a brief period completing his articles at the Sydney firm Clayton Utz, he went to the Sydney Bar in 1950, where he quickly made a reputation for himself as one of the dominant figures in commercial and equity work. Anthony Mason was noted for his profound knowledge of cases and legal principles and his astonishing powers of recall. He was a brilliant courtroom technician, praised for his analytical mind and for his precise and economical use of words. Anthony Mason's emergence as an eminent lawyer was apparent to many senior lawyers at the Sydney Bar during the 1950s. During this early period, he came under the influence of the prominent QC, Jack Asprey, and both Morris Byers QC and Garfield Barwick QC had great respect for his talents and his effortless grasp of the law. In 1964, he became Commonwealth Solicitor General at the age of 39. As well as appearing for the Commonwealth in all the major constitutional cases over the next 5 years, he also played a significant role internationally in developments for codifying and coordinating international trade law. He served as Vice Chairman of the United Nations Commission on International Trade Law in 1968. In 1969, he resigned as Commonwealth Solicitor General and moved back to Sydney to accept an appointment as a judge of the Court of Appeal in the Supreme Court of New South Wales. In 1972, he was appointed to the High Court by the McMahon government and became Chief Justice in 1987, the position from which he retires later this month. In recognition of his leadership and eminent service to the legal profession and to Australian law, Anthony Mason was made a Commander of the Order of the British Empire in 1969 and subsequently a Knight Commander of the Order of the British Empire in 1972 and a Companion of the Order of Australia in 1988. Sir Anthony's tenure on the High Court has coincided with a movement toward a more contemporary interpretation of the issues before the Court and a more broadly based interpretation of Commonwealth powers under the Constitution. This is true of the decisions concerned with Section 92 of the Constitution, dealing with free trade between states. Rather than apply historic doctrine in a legalistic manner, he has supported the application of a new and simpler test to decide whether restrictions on interstate trade are valid or not. Other influential judgments of which he has been part have involved an extension of Commonwealth power within the federal system. Included in this category are the Koowarta and Dam cases in 1982 and 1983 respectively. One of Sir Anthony's most famous cases was the Commonwealth versus Fairfax case of 1980. His concern for the rights of the individual were evident when he was asked to consider the granting of an injunction to the Fraser government against the Sydney Morning Herald and The Age to prevent publication of extracts from a book containing defence and foreign policy material. He was not disposed to accede over readily to the arguments of the government based on claims of confidentiality. In his judgment, he said, "It is unacceptable in our democratic society that there should be a restraint on the publication of information relating to government when the only vice of that information is that it enables the public to discuss, review and criticise government action." A similar philosophy has been apparent in more recent years with a series of judgments upholding civil liberties. In particular, the 1992 decision striking down government restrictions on political advertising sought to protect citizens' rights and guarantee the freedom to discuss questions of politics and government. During Sir Anthony's tenure as Chief Justice, he has demonstrated outstanding intellectual leadership. His high standards of personal integrity and his accomplishments have also been recognised by the educational sector. As well as being awarded honorary doctorates from the Universities of Sydney, ANU, Melbourne, Oxford and Monash, he has also served as Pro-Chancellor of the Australian National University from 1972 to 1975 and is currently the Chancellor of the University of New South Wales. It is especially fitting that the Council of Griffith University, a university named in honour of Sir Samuel Griffith, one of the authors of Australia's Constitution and the first Chief Justice of the High Court, should honour Sir Anthony Mason in recognition of his long and distinguished leadership and eminent service to Australian law. Chancellor, it is with great pleasure that I present to you Anthony Frank Mason, Companion of the Order of Australia, Knight Commander of the Order of the British Empire, for admission to the degree of Doctor of the University.
I now call upon Sir Anthony Mason, AC, KBE, Doctor of the University, to deliver the occasional address.
Chancellor, members of the University, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I take special pride in receiving an honorary degree from this university. As you have heard, it bears the name of my illustrious predecessor, the first Chief Justice of Australia, Sir Samuel Griffith. He had been Chief Justice of Queensland, and before that, Premier and Attorney General of this state. He was a successful and astute politician. At the same time, he was a classicist of distinction. Between 1900 and 1914, he translated into English the 14,000 lines of Dante's Divine Comedy, a feat which demonstrates, if nothing else, a measure of industry and perseverance in the field of belles lettres, exceeding that of any subsequent Chief Justice. However, the universal conclusion of contemporary reviewers was that the translation was devoid of literary merit. One reviewer stated that, unfortunately, the poetry of Dante has escaped almost entirely from Sir Samuel's industrious fingers. That is why it is, as a lawyer, as an influential delegate to the constitutional conventions in the 1890s, and as a judge, rather than as a poet, that I know him best. History records that one of his most influential achievements was the drafting of the bill for an Australian constitution on the Queensland government steamship, the Lucinda, as it cruised the Hawkesbury River near Sydney on the 27th to the 29th of March 1891. The Lucinda had been brought to Sydney from Brisbane specifically for the convention in Sydney. Sir Samuel was responsible for organising a 13-hour session on Easter Saturday, working with Kingston and Sir Edmund Barton on revisions to the bill. A few days later, he explained to the convention that the three of them had tried to form a plan which, so far as regards simplicity of structure and language, will not be unworthy of the English tongue. His codification of the criminal law, the Criminal Code, was first enacted in Queensland and is still the law in force in this state, Western Australia and Tasmania. According to Sir Owen Dixon, Australia's greatest judge, Sir Samuel had a dominant and decisive legal mind. That was the principal reason why the High Court of Australia, soon after its establishment, quickly gained acceptance at a time when the Supreme Court judges in the states, formerly the colonies, were by no means pleased to find a new Australian court placed above them for the first time. In the High Court in Canberra, in the number 1 courtroom, there hangs a splendid portrait of Sir Samuel, presented to us by the judges of the Supreme Court of Queensland. It is a copy of an original, painted when he was Chief Justice of Queensland. The portrait is a constant reminder to us of his early leadership and of his determined assertion of the court's authority under the Constitution. As we look back across the time span of a century to the Federation movement and the establishment of the Constitution, and to Sir Samuel Griffith's part in those events. What is so striking is the sense of Australian identity and unity that inspired the delegates and the people of the various Australian colonies. They put aside colonial rivalries and concentrated on the attainment of a unified Australia in the belief that a united Australia had a brilliant destiny. And yet, that new sense of national identity and unity was accompanied by a conviction that Australia's destiny would be achieved under the Crown as a constituent element of what was then the British Empire centred in London. That this was so was not surprising. The Australia of that time, the Australia in which my own father grew up as a child, was mainly populated by people who had been born in Great Britain and Ireland, as indeed 3 of my 4 grandparents and as Sir Samuel Griffith himself had been. And at that time, all our ties, constitutional, political, legal, cultural and commercial, were with Great Britain. Much has changed since then. Our relationship with the United Kingdom, the long-delayed move towards reconciliation with the Aboriginal people, the pattern of our trade, the make-up of our population, and the continuation of the trend towards urbanisation. More than that, the old spirit of national identity and unity is no longer as strong as it once was. Advances in transportation and communication and the emergence of Asia and the Pacific Rim as a driving force in the world economy have dispelled our sense of geographical isolation. At the same time, many of the common assumptions which united Western society, and despite our desire to be part of Asia, we are still predominantly a Western society, are no longer valid or are under challenge. The attitudes of the community have become more fragmented as interest groups aggressively pursue single issues by means of media, political and even litigious campaigns. Many of these issues are not unique to Australia, though to take wood chipping as an example, they have a local application. The fragmentation of community attitudes and the emergence of single-issue politics have in turn made it more difficult for politicians to provide strong leadership. All this makes it unlikely that in the foreseeable future we shall return to a world of certainties in which we are united by a set of common beliefs and assumptions. But there are some certainties which we should recognise. One is that in order to be a well-informed citizen and to pursue a successful career in one's chosen occupation, it is not enough just to have professional or technical expertise. You need to be aware of the major issues confronting society and the ramifications they may have, not only for the community in general, but also for the field of activity in which you are engaged. There have been few areas of professional, administrative and business endeavour which have been immune from the ways in which governments, community groups and interest groups have responded to the many political, economic, environmental and social issues which have arisen in recent times. Yet professionals, administrators and those engaged in business have not always been alert to the need for change. Often they have embraced change only when it has been thrust upon them. An occupational mindset insulated from glimpses of broader horizons and from notions of service to the public is sometimes responsible for such short-sightedness. Fortunately, steps are now being taken to address these shortcomings. We read constantly of companies, industry groups and professional associations engaging former public sector decision-makers and other professional and expert advisors who can provide insights into the consideration, management and resolution of the broader issues of which I have spoken. It is something of an irony that, at a time when there is an increasing demand for specialisation, there is a need for knowledge and understanding that transcends specialist boundaries. That need presents a challenge to specialist education and gives new emphasis to the time-worn expression that universities should have as their primary goal the education of the well-rounded graduate. That need also highlights the role of the university in providing postgraduate courses in the field of continuing education. Indeed, the more one thinks about it, the more inevitable is the conclusion that graduation from a university, great achievement though it is but a significant step in an ongoing process of education of the individual in which a university has many important parts to play. One other certainty in an uncertain world that we must recognise is that our future lies principally in the Asia-Pacific region and with the peoples of that region. A consequence of that is we must make it our business to understand and appreciate the culture of our neighbours. That is easier said than done. We tend to believe automatically in the innate superiority of the set of values which has evolved in Western society. That superiority is not self-evident to others. And our version of Western society, which is peculiarly assertive, confrontational and adversarial, contrasts rather sharply with the courteous and consensual approach to decision-making that is characteristic of some parts of Asia and the Pacific. It follows that we need to develop and encourage the quality of tolerance, to allow for the different viewpoints and to respect the opinions of others, even though we may disagree with them. The dogmatic assertion of the superiority of our own values and of a belief that they should be adopted by civilisations much older than our own is a form of cultural nationalism least likely to promote our goals in Asia and the Pacific region. If our own values have intrinsic virtue, that intrinsic virtue will ultimately be recognised without excessive trumpeting on our part. That message has particular significance in Northern Australia. Our history, centred upon Great Britain and the sailing ship, meant that for so long the focus of European settlement in Australia was in southeastern Australia. Our future, centred now to the north, the northwest and the northeast of the continent, means that those who live in Queensland, Western Australia and the Northern Territory have advantages and opportunities over those who, like myself, reside in southeastern Australia. And it is important to all of us that you should make the most of them. Your relationships with the peoples of the region are certain to become much closer and more varied, and in that way you will contribute to the building of a stronger Australia. It is even possible that closer links with the peoples of the region will enhance an Australian sense of identity. A concentrated effort to achieve our destiny in this part of the world might well generate a new spirit of confidence, a confidence that was dented by the severe recession that beset us in recent years. But in any event, there are sound reasons for hoping that the future prospects for dedicated and industrious young university graduates are more promising than they have been for some time. That is as it should be. Graduation at today's ceremony represents a just reward for personal effort and for the continuing support provided by family and friends. I congratulate those present who have received degrees or awards, and I hope that your career or that your degree provides a passport to a stimulating and successful career, as did my own basic degrees. The honorary degree which I have just received this evening is of a different order. I would like to think that it reflects in substantial measure a recognition of the fundamental importance of the High Court of Australia under our Constitution and of the ongoing contribution which the Court has made to law and justice and to the life of the Australian community.
Chancellor, it is my great pleasure and honour to offer on behalf of all of the congregation tonight our thanks to Sir Anthony for his presence with us, for his honouring of us by accepting our honorary degree, and of course for his address to our graduates. In my office there hangs a lamp, once I think fired by kerosene or some such, from the ship Lucinda, the government yacht, which is a constant reminder of the links which Griffith University has with the constitutional origins of Australia through the work of Sir Samuel Griffith. And Sir Anthony has eloquently reminded us tonight of the importance of our heritage as a university, and I'm sure we're all very grateful for that and informed by it, even though he didn't find it in his heart to speak kindly of the qualities of Sir Samuel as a translator of Dante. Sir Anthony has emphasised the importance of identity and unity achieved in the conferences leading to federation, and he has turned his mind, to our benefit, to more recent examples of the importance of identity and unity. I'm sure all of us tonight who are familiar with Griffith University, and hopefully that is just about everybody, will have been very pleased to hear Sir Anthony speak about the importance of transcending the boundaries of disciplines. In our own law school, we integrate all our law teaching with other disciplines offered by the university, and in all our courses we emphasise the vital importance of suppressing disciplinary boundaries. So the emphasis that Sir Anthony has placed on these matters accords well with this university's mission and with its special role in Australian higher education. Sir Anthony has drawn our attention to the tendency to Eurocentricity, to the superiority complex, and to the arrogance that still pervades some aspects of our society and our attitudes in its relationships with Asia and the Pacific. His warnings against cultural arrogance and cultural nationalism, I'm sure, are very important for us all to heed here tonight, especially as this university not only occupies, as he points out, a northern position and a northern aspect from the Australian perspective, but also this university has long been committed to Asian studies as it has been to the suppression of disciplinary boundaries. Ladies and gentlemen, would you join with me again in thanking Sir Anthony for his address to us tonight? It's my pleasure to add my congratulations to those already given by many others to our graduates on their achievements, to wish them well in their careers and to exhort them to stay with the university as members of the Alumni Association. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, in a moment, the Griffith University Collegiate Singers will sing the traditional student song Gadiama Sigatua. You're invited to join in the singing of the song, whose words appear on page 24 of your program. Please rise as the singers enter and remain standing during the singing. Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony is now concluded. When the fanfares begin, please remain standing as the Deus Party, the staff procession and the graduates retire. Thank you.